Hey, Back Porch is back again with another episode. Today we're going to talk about the Big Ten media as is going on. We're going to be talking some NFL a little bit, some news around the league. The guys have reported to work finally. We got some guys sitting out. We got some guys getting injured. All kinds of stuff going on. Guys making contracts extensions. They haven't even played a game for their team yet, aka Aaron Rodgers. Um, uh, but we're here, man. We're back. It's a full slate on the back porch. I got back porch Scott, aka Scotty Wins, aka Big Play Scotty, aka Buckeye Scotty, aka Big Ten Scotty, aka the Cape, known as just Scott. Then we got our boy Ryan. There's no back porch on his name. He's got to earn that back porch. He's a rookie this year, but hey, he's a Penn State boy, he's a Jersey boy, he's a Yankee boy. But hey, we got a Big Ten load here for our Big Ten show. Ryan's we're probably gonna call him Wawa Ryan, just because he likes Wawa. He doesn't like Waffle House, but we'll figure it out.
And
Boys, how's it
confirmed,
been? How's it going?
Wawa has been voted better than Bucky's this year. Can confirm.
Wow,
that's a big take for the Rook.
A bomb, a minute 26 into the episode,
and he just took it. Yeah,
dropping a nuke.
That's why we have him on the back porch. He might be big take Rye.
So talking Big Ten. We have 14 teams in the Big Ten. So what happens next year when we get USC and UCLA? Like, what are we rebranding to?
Cheaper by the dozen.
I'd just say keep it the Big Ten. It's just a name.
Yeah, very, very true. I mean, it doesn't.
Don't rebrand.
Yeah, just still be the Big Ten. B1G.
Because it's big. It's a big conference.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's the Big Ten, as in 10 in each side of the division.
It's going to be
conference. 10
when they're all done with the alignments. That does make sense.
So
maybe
if you're a Big Ten fan, let us know in the comments after this. I'm so Ryan. I'm so sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think I'm a little delayed, but I was saying it could be Big Ten because 6 of those teams are not worth talking about.
This is also true.
This is true. We'll just talk about the top 10 in the Big Ten. That makes sense. And no one wants to talk about Northwestern and their problems. No, I mean, they're just a bunch of rich kids who are going to be lawyers and doctors anyway at a nice school in Northside Chicago. I mean, nice people, but I don't.
Just a little hazing happened.
Light hazing, not as much as what's going on with PJ Fleck coins and his value of what he's been doing. We talk all day about that, and there's more to come with the PJ Fleck stuff. So let's get with the news. What a mess! Let's just go with the Big Ten news around the horn. Big Ten news. I'll take it first. I'm going to take Burgergate with Jim Harbaugh. This is a complete mess. The NCAA once again shows us that it's a full joke. Like, if you can't buy a recruit a hamburger, first of all, why is he buying a hamburger? It's Jim Harbaugh. He doesn't need to spend money in at all in Ann Arbor. But if you can't buy him a hamburger, but Tennessee gets away with McDonald's bags or Chick-fil-A bags full of cash, it's just stupid. It's so dumb. And honestly, if I was Michigan and the AD and Jim Harbaugh, I would just walk out the tunnel on the first game and say, "What are you gonna do about it?" Like, your suspension means nothing to me. What do y'all think on this thing?
So they compromised on a 4-game suspension. And they play in those 4 games: East Carolina at home, UNLV at home, Bowling Green at home, and Rutgers at home. So some real stellar opponents there. I actually don't think that Jim Harbaugh needs to show up until after the Rutgers game. So joke is on the NCAA because that is not a punishment. That is extended vacation, and I wouldn't even argue if I was Jim Harbaugh.
Ryan, what you got on that? What's your take on the?
Some are saying he even did it on purpose to get this extended vacation.
You think so?
No, but I mean, to Scott's point, those are 4 teams that have no business playing Michigan, other than to get a few extra bucks because they're playing Michigan.
I mean, I think them, if he doesn't coach, obviously, it's not going to ruin the outcome at all. We all know that. Those are all 4 straight wins. But you get to see how mature this team is.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know?
will say I think that they do need Harbaugh for that 5th game when they go to Nebraska.
Yes.
Little tease there for the Nebraska preview.
Yeah. That's a potential trap game. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, first game back for Harbaugh.
Do you think Harbaugh's gonna put a mustache on and wear sunglasses and
What's he going
pretend to be like a
Manziel?
yeah, like on the sideline, where he's got a headset on, but
He's
he
gonna
looks like he's
send
part of the
John out
media.
there,
But
I will say though, with Harbaugh being out, for our bettors out there, we might be able to get some favorable spreads for those Michigan games with them not having their head coach on the sideline.
yeah, that's true.
yeah,
Absolutely.
the plus 30s are gonna be pretty.
It might be just plus 28.
Yeah, 28 and a half. Bang it.
He's that big of a deal. He's that big of a deal. We got Harbaugh, we got Hamburger Gate. It's just too silly because LSU pretty much got caught red-handed for years and didn't do anything. Didn't listen to the NCAA when they tried to do anything. Tennessee said, "We'll just punish ourselves. Don't worry about us." I mean, Kansas with Bill Self, they freaking got caught paying people. They said, "Don't worry about it. We're going to win a national championship. Take it away from us, you idiots." So the more this happens, the more it just shows how stupid the NCAA looks. And eventually, when these conferences continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, they're going to honestly alienate the NCAA and self-govern themselves. Like these commissioners of each league is now they're going to be the presidents and the judge and executioner really of what happens in these leagues when it comes to violations and stuff like that. So, what else happened in the league college ranks? PJ Fleck, some rumors about his rowing. Clearly, if you row the boat, you earn coin. So, that was something that came out. Still rumors, nothing official yet, but cult-like atmosphere. I read a little bit about if you prayed with him, you would earn PJ Fleck coin.
Wasn't just a weird entire.
I have no clue. I can't wait.
It's hard to understand if you weren't there.
Yeah, like I got the row the boat thing. I thought that was a cool mantra.
I thought it was.
I didn't know it was gonna be like a cult thing. Like row the boat, like it means like literally row the boat.
Yeah, like let's go. Like let's
go.
Keep
like,
going. You keep pushing.
What? If you got drugs in your system, you got some coin. We'll get rid of them drugs. I didn't see nothing. You got some coin.
I think it's just weird that it came out right after the Northwestern stuff.
Yeah, scandal.
It's kind of being like pushed underneath the rug because of it. I don't know. Very, very strange situation.
Yeah, very strange. More to come. PJ Fleck is definitely a motivator, speaker type guy anyway. So if this is true and it's like comes out like to the borderline cult like hazing, kind of like Mike Leach got fired from Texas Tech for doing barely anything. I mean, he did put the kid in the.
Some are saying the Big Ten has hazing problem.
I think it's tradition. I mean, whatever.
Embrace debate. Is it a problem or is it tradition?
Clearly, it's
questions we
problem.
need
Tradition. Yeah, exactly. We need a full roundtable for that one. We have that. There's more to come on that one. What else? The Big Ten, Big 12, Colorado officially move into the Big 12 next year, 24. Do y'all think Dion knew that the whole time?
I think they gave him insight when they brought him in. I think they told him, "Hey, this is on the table, and we really think it's going to happen. So, like, just let you know." Like, so I don't think that he was blindsided by it.
No, I think it's going to excel the brand again, his brand already. I think when I think
Olympic Games is-
historically college football, when I think of Colorado, I already think of them in the Big 12 because that was their best years in the Big 12. It just makes sense. Colorado's nowhere near the West Coast. It makes sense that the Big 12,
Yeah.
the style of play that, I don't know. I think it's another great grab by the Big 12 and when they're losing two big juggernauts, they're bringing in people.
Well, and their OC that they brought in from Kent State runs the air raid offense, right? He's all about throwing the ball downfield and that. So that's going to translate Big 12 well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm liking what the Big 12's doing, especially if the Big 12 continues with the speculation maps. They might be bringing in Utah. They fit the bill.
Mm-hmm.
They fit the bill. Arizona State. They would fit right in. Talk about basketball conference.
Yeah.
My God. So, but yeah, my take on that one. I think it's a good one. Ryan, what do you got? Any opinion on Coach Prime going to Big 12? What you got?
I'm still not convinced he's there for the long term. He might get a season or two in the Big 12, but I think he's already got his eyes on that 5-year plan looking down the road. And I think this is just
to where though?
Good chance for him, like you
go?
said, to accelerate that brand for not only the team but for himself to kind of make that next step.
On a scale of conferences, Big 12, I
would say
them higher than the Pac-12. Yeah,
I'd put
third.
them at third.
So you put them at third. He's even coached a real game yet, and he's already accelerated the brand already like that. So that's cool. That is cool. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let's
a little breaking news here. Breaking
news.
Joe Burrow potentially out 6 to 8 weeks.
Ooh, what happened today? What happened there, Scott?
Joe Burrow non-contact injury. He was scrambling right, and he just pulled up on his calf, grabbed his calf, went down, got carted off by the medical staff. If you remember, it was the right leg, so it is his plant leg, which is a problem. Mike Trout spent 2 months on the IL for not a quarterback but an athlete, a very good athlete, very athletic athlete.
It's like
and he was out 2 months with the calf strain. So it seems like it's not Achilles. I'm sure there's second opinions going on for Burrow here, but the early birdies are saying 6 to 8 weeks, which has killed my value of the field ticket that I bought for week 1. If I was looking to resell that, it kind of got up to the point where like, hey, my ticket, I bought it for $200. It was going for like $330. Like I was kind of thinking about flipping and getting a seat in the nosebleeds and to make a little profit, but that is out the window now.
Right. It's good for your brownies.
Yeah, good, great. Well, but you know what? I don't want to hear the poverty Bengal fans coming after saying, "Oh, well, you didn't beat the Bengals with Joe Burrow." Like Joe Burrow was like 2-3 against us in his career, and like I think he won for the first time at home last year against us. So like get out of there. Like Jacoby Brissett beat him on Monday Night Football on Halloween. We were up 31-6 or something. Like, get the hell out of here with that, Joe Burrow. You didn't beat Joe Burrow. We've beaten Joe Burrow so much that he is sick of the Browns.
I like this, Scott. Get these shots in when Jake's not here.
Yeah, when Jake's not here to defend himself.
I'm taking shots at Joe Burrow. Let me take some shots at another player that I think is severely loved by everyone, but he also sucks and got hurt today. Jalen Ramsey carted off. I can say that he sucks because it's been confirmed that he's having surgery and he's only going to be out 6 to 8 weeks himself. A little meniscus cleanup going on tomorrow. He will be playing this year. So
turf, man?
Training camp is awesome, but
training camp's undefeated.
Part of training camp is getting the injuries. Garrett Wilson limped off today on his own power, but that is the worst part about football being back is like, oh yeah, like guys do get injured playing this.
It's just wild to me. It's just so wild to me that these guys work out so hard in the off season, and they don't get injured by some, beefed up lineman or linebacker. It's the turf.
Yep.
And it's just I laugh, and it's like nothing is safe. Like nothing in training camp is safe at all. Like you don't know what to expect going into anything. It's just wild to me. And this is just only the first couple days. We still have a whole month of training
We haven't even
camp.
hit the first
Like,
preseason game.
yeah,
Yeah, 1
it's
week
wild.
from this recording, Hall of Fame game. Rumor is Kellen Mond starting that game for the Browns. So that's
Kellen Mond. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, Kellen Mond's not bad. He was pretty good at Texas A&M.
If you're saying something's not bad, they're really just not good. So
I mean, you could just if you had Josh Dobbs still, you could just throw him in
well,
there.
Josh Dobbs is still on the roster, but they're not going to play him because
He's always on call.
Yeah.
He's-
Well, NASA might need him next week for these
He's probably doing science.
UFO and doing alien research now. So
Yeah, exactly.
we need like DTR or Kellen Mond to step up because Josh Dobbs is about to get paid from NASA to drop the NFL gig so he can fight aliens.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah,
Josh, your only hope.
Josh Dobbs in Cleveland.
Hmm?
They call him the Pastronaut.
The Pastronaut.
Yes, sir. He's the Pastronaut.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, jeez.
Uh,
That's really bad. Let's end.
Any other NFL news before we move on to our
Let's end on that one and transition to Big Ten regular season over unders.
See, Ryan's quiet about NFL. Ryan's quiet about NFL because he's an Eagle fan, and they don't even practice.
They don't
They're
need
like-
to practice.
they
They're
don't
just
need to practice.
Not a
That's
single
fine.
soul on the pup to start training camp. It's a good start to the year.
Their entire team is literally chilling. They're just like, yeah, we know our plays. We're good. Yeah. So,
Totally fine.
totally fine.
We'll go around the conference here. I'll read off the over or under set by the Vegas line.
Presented by
Hard Rock Sportsbook, coming to
Hard
a
Rock Sportsbook.
near you, hopefully soon, as us Florida kids are hoping.
Yes.
I'm just gonna go straight down the list. There's no particular order. I'm a public school kid. I think this might be in alphabetical order, but public school kid, no judgment here. We'll start off with Illinois, over under is set at 6.5. Ryan, your prediction?
Over.
All right.
Uber.
Nate.
Uber. Illinois 6.5.
Both of them paying out at -110.
They're replacing Chase Brown. They're replacing defense like crazy. I'll give them 6 wins, but they're not getting anything over that. So I'm going to do under.
You're going under. I am
Yeah.
also under 6.5 because
they have a decent schedule. Their schedule's pretty decent.
All right. That brings us to Indiana. Over under is set at a stellar 3.5. Ryan.
Over.
3.5.
For the Big Ten, 2-0 for the over.
All right. Ryan's confident. Wawa Ryan is ready, man. They got pizza at Wawa now. They got all kinds of stuff at Wawa. He's happy.
Big Ten's here to play this year.
All right. Indiana's playing who? Wait, what was it? 3.5?
3.5.
All right, I'm looking at their schedule.
They have Indiana State and Akron, which should
Indiana,
be 2 right
Akron.
there.
Shout out the Zips.
Louisville.
It's going to come down to the Purdue game at the end of the season for them. No, I'm going under. Not 3.5. I give them 3. I give them 3 wins. They're not beating Louisville. Louisville's a surprise team this year.
I'm over 3.5 with Indiana. I'm riding
high.
Half is too little.
They have a good transfer quarterback from Tennessee now, so hopefully they do what they. You know what? Indiana's a weird team just because they can get you every 4 or 5 years. Like Purdue, when Purdue's high, Indiana's low. They're never good at the same time. So I'm still going under. I don't see a fourth win on this schedule.
Over 3.5 for me, which will bring us into Iowa. Iowa is set at 8.5. Woo!
8.5 for Iowa, a team that barely scored touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
Wow.
What happened at Iowa?
They got JJ
Did they get
the McLemore kid. They brought a new offensive coordinator.
Cade McNamara? Yeah.
And they brought in Cade McNamara from Michigan.
He
new
sucked.
Coordinator. Their defense is always going to be good. You know that.
Yeah.
And
their tight ends and their offensive line is going to be good.
They're going to be solid. They're going to be solid line play, solid defensive play. Their biggest issue was they couldn't score because they had no offensive identity. But if they're Vegas set at 8.5,
yeah,
wow, they're very confident in this schedule. Go ahead, Ryan, lead us off. Have fun.
I'm gonna say they cap off at 8. They're gonna get the under.
You're going under, okay. They go to Iowa State, which is never easy. They go to Penn State, that's a loss. They go to Wisconsin. They play Minnesota at home, Northwestern at home. It's a cakewalk at the end of the year. They avoid Michigan, Ohio State, and Michigan. That's why they're 8.5.
Need an answer.
I know. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm over. I'm going. I'm riding Hawks.
I'm riding the Hawkeyes.
9 wins. Riding the Hawks.
9-3.
9-3.
I'm going with the Hawkeyes. You know what, Ryan? Ryan said the Big Ten is here to play. Iowa over 8.5. Let's ride.
I'm looking at their schedule. I can see 3 losses. Penn State, Wisconsin, at Wisconsin. Because you know how hard it is to play, and in Ohio, Iowa. And then what's going to kill me is the Iowa State game or the Nebraska game.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 games, and they're both one's at the beginning of the year, one's at the end of the year. I'm gonna be sweating this thing out for the whole season. 9 wins, Hawkeyes,
9 wins
and they're going to the Outback Bowl. 9 wins,
Outback and they're going to win it.
And they're going to play. South Carolina or Kentucky, and they're going to win it.
Exactly. Moving on to the next, Maryland over under is set at 7.5. Ryan.
I'm gonna say under. I think they don't get past 7. I think they struggle for 7.
Yeah, their schedule's not fun. You said under?
Yeah.
I need to see their home and away.
I think that Maryland is nothing but candy ass uniforms and underperforming players who realistically just suck. So I'm under 7.5.
I think I don't understand why they're at 7.5. Like if you look at their schedule, they do have talent. And like coach, what's their coach's name?
Mike
Lockley. Yeah, he's a great coordinator.
He's a pretty good recruiter too.
He's a great recruiter.
Pretty well for the East of Big Ten.
I mean, they're out of conferences: Towson, Charlotte, and Virginia.
They're going to start 3-0.
Yeah. To beat the over, they have to win at Nebraska and at Rutgers, and I think they get one of those. I don't think they get both.
Yeah, they'll split that.
I think it's more Rutgers than that.
They'll beat Rutgers. Rutgers is god awful. 7.5.
7.5.
Oh, nope. Under
7.5. Unanimous.
First one.
Under 7.5. I'd love for them to prove me wrong. I just don't see it.
I think if we unanimously agree that we get like an applause, like a cheer.
Yeah, unanimously agree.
We get a back porch cheer, like crack.
Yeah, unanimously agree. We get the applause when that happens.
The applause-o-meter.
Let's go on to Michigan. Over under is set at 10.5 wins. I'm just going to start this one off instead of Ryan. Over 10.5.
Over.
Yeah,
Nate says over. Ryan.
That's an easy one.
Is that unanimous?
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Look at that.
That one's way too easy. Because they'll lose, if anything, they'll lose one, but they're not going to lose two.
Yeah, losing two would be shocking for this team.
Yeah.
It would be. You're telling me you're returning Blake Corum plus the other guy with that offensive line
and the quarterback
and the quarter. Like you're not losing two games.
Just
they don't need defense, but they're good. They're there, so yeah. So no. All right, next.
Moving on to Michigan State. Jeez, their over under is set at 5.5. God, what is going on at Michigan State? 5.5. There's good juice there if you like the over. It's plus 128.
Let's focus on this one, okay? Let's go with. Let's slow down this one because this is a tough one. So slow it down. We just did two really quick ones. Let's look at their schedule. Central Michigan, they'll win.
You said 5.5.
5.5 is the over under.
Mm-hmm.
Central Michigan, Richmond. Those are 2 wins. They play Washington at home.
Loss.
You think Washington can travel?
Yeah.
Week 3, you think so?
Yeah, but they play Maryland at home the next week too. They should beat Maryland.
They should beat Maryland at home. I have Maryland losing to them. That's why I had Maryland going under.
I would say they beat Central Michigan. They beat Richmond.
Yes,
they beat Rutgers.
Washington. They beat Maryland. That's 3 Rutgers.
And
they beat Maryland and Rutgers. That's 4. Indiana, that's 5.
4. Yeah.
Do you think that they can get Iowa?
No, I don't think
it's at Iowa. They're not beating Iowa at Iowa.
Central, but Washington traveling to the East Coast would be tough.
I think
that's Washington team. They're returning 75% of their team.
Yeah,
they're a top 15 team, and Michael Penix has Big Ten experience.
But State is they're so inconsistent. I don't know what team shows up that day.
That's the thing. It's like it's week 4, right? It's an underrated game, right? There's weird things that happen though in East Lansing. You know that. Like that's why it's like, the FBI has Washington it's a blowout.
Let's ask this question real quick. Who is right now projected to be Michigan State's starting quarterback?
I have no clue.
Great question.
Noah Kim.
Noah Kim.
I don't know who's playing quarterback at Ohio State, so.
Yeah, but you know who the people in the contention are. I've never even heard of Noah Kim, and we want to give this team 6 wins in the Big Ten.
Very true.
That's
all right.
True.
Under 5.5.
I'm going under. ML Tucker gets fired.
That's a clap.
Yeah.
That's
Are we all contention? Is that unanimous?
Right. Yeah, I'm giving them only 4 wins.
Yeah. If they find a way to sneak one, it's going to be at Iowa. That's it. That word. At Iowa or at Minnesota. One of those 2. So, I mean, if they have some PJ Fleck coin, they can walk into some in Minnesota now and we'll cash in. You know what I mean? We don't know. We don't know. We could be recording this way too early. I mean, the PJ Fleck dynasty could be dying tomorrow. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. He could get fired at midnight tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the Minnesota football team, they are up next because alphabetical order. Over under is set at 7.5. 7.5 is a lot for all those distractions.
That is. And they open up with Nebraska, huh? That'd be a fun night game.
Yeah. Matt Rule's first one. Never know.
Ooh, they go to North Carolina. Good for them.
You said 7.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going under. I talked such a big game with the Big Ten being back too.
Under 7.5. Yeah, I'm under.
There's so many unders.
We started off hot.
We did.
Over, under.
Oh, Nate, are you going over and under?
Northwestern, Louisiana. I'm counting the wins. Michigan State, Illinois, Purdue. They're not beating Wisconsin this year.
No.
Western, Louisiana, Michigan State, Illinois, Purdue. That's 6. What was it? 7.5? Under. Under. I have them.
I struggle to get the 6.
No, they'll be 7, but not 7.5. They're still under. I'll give them 7. They will that.
Unanimous.
They might. Yeah, that's a good one. Unanimous. Right now, it's the big under, not the Big 10.
Yeah, that's basically change the name of the freaking conference. Now we're at Nebraska. Over under.
Right, this is going to be a tough one because I really want to look at their schedule.
Give me over 6.5 for
I'm
my.
a big Cornhusker this year. I'm hoping he inherited. I know you're going to talk about it, but he does have a really good roster.
He did very well in the portal.
Yes, he did. And if he does what he did when he was at Baylor, then I can see this quickly turning around. Yeah. All right. What is it set for them?
6.5.
You go ahead and lead it off.
Oh, I'm over. I'm in.
You're going over 6.5?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Ryan. What do you got?
Locked in.
Lock it in over.
It's tough, but I'm locked in. I'm buying it.
I'm going to say they get the 6, so they get the bowl game, but they don't get 7. I'm going to go under.
That is so painful.
And I like Matt Rule, but.
Nice guy. Very nice guy.
What was it? 6.5?
Yep.
You said 6.5?
6.5, baby.
I gotta do it. Colorado win. Northern Illinois win. Louisiana Tech win.
Mm-hmm.
At Illinois win. At home against Northwestern win. At home against Purdue win. That's 6. Then they play at Michigan State. Ooh. Well, they'll beat Maryland. I'll say they'll beat Maryland. That's 7. So
you're over, baby.
Am I over at 7 already?
Yeah, I think it's 6.5.
Over?
Yeah,
give them over.
6.5.
7 wins, Matt Rule, Coach of the Year.
Love it. Coach of the Year at 7-5.
I mean, they will freaking go ballistic if they go 7-5.
For sure.
They'll be in the bowl game for the first time in how long?
They'll probably be in the Outback Bowl. They're probably going to bump Iowa, and they'll be in the Outback Bowl.
Yeah. Next up is the hazing capital of the United States, Northwestern.
It's because they're just so smarter than everybody else. It wasn't even real hazing. It was like you just said some like highfalutin, yada yada. You know what I mean? What did it set at?
2.5.
Oh God. I feel bad for their new coach.
This comes down to, do we think they win a Big Ten game? Because I have 2 wins for them right now.
Dude, they're going to beat Howard and they're going to beat Duke. Or
no, they're not going to beat Duke.
I don't think they beat Duke.
UTEP. I don't know why.
They'll beat UTEP. They'll beat UTEP and they'll beat Howard.
Can they beat one Big Ten team? Which I don't know if they can. They don't have a Rutgers. They don't have an Indiana.
They play at Rutgers.
You have Illinois.
And they're playing at Illinois.
Yeah.
They're not beating Illinois at Illinois. And they're not beating Rutgers at Rutgers.
Yeah, I'm going under with 2 wins.
2.5 under. That is so sad.
They could beat Purdue at home. Purdue's, man, they're recovering.
I couldn't even tell you one person who's on
I
Northwestern.
can't lose this under. I'm going over.
You're going over on the 2 wins.
I can't go under. That's too few wins.
I'm doing it. I'm putting
Well,
that.
how many they won? They only won 1 game last year, right?
One Big Ten game. I think they had 3 wins overall.
So they can win a Big Ten game, is what you're telling me.
That was a team with a coach.
Okay, maybe it's better that
guy.
the hazing guy isn't there and all the trauma is gone. Maybe they'll galvanize together.
I can't do it.
They're all
People are already
their
transferring
trauma.
out. I can't do it.
Jeez. I give them 2. Is that a push?
No, 2.5 is
2.5.
Oh God!
You're
under. It's under for me. They're not winning 3.
That's crazy.
They're not winning 3. No.
This is a Power 5 team getting 2 wins.
Well, they should have thought about that before they started hazing.
Yeah.
What happened to Northwestern? They were good a few years ago.
Right?
It fell apart. It fell apart real fast.
Fell apart real quick.
On all the hazing.
I guess. You can't just yell at kids anymore, I guess.
So sensitive.
All right, next.
All right, yeah, let's try to go a little rapid fire because we're at 20 minutes on this. Ohio State 10.5. Under.
I'm gonna go under. I think they lose 2.
You think they lose 2?
Yep.
I think they beat Michigan this year, and they lose to Penn State.
Ryan Day wants a job. He has to.
I think they beat Michigan and lose to Penn State.
So then you're over 10.5.
They're only losing 1 game. So I'm going over. I'm over it.
Over.
Y'all are going under. You're going over. Here's my thing. I know we're gonna get into Ohio State. I'm not get a chance to talk about Ohio State. You do, but everyone's like, "Oh, the quarterback." I trust Ryan Day. He's a quarterback guru. He's been the guy. He's wasn't he the quarterback coach and the OC before? Mm-hmm. They were just fine anytime they cost the guy with the pros. They're fine. They will be fine. Defense is going to get better.
I really do.
I am right. I am right. Only losing 1 game, and they're going to lose to Penn State, unfortunately, which is good for Wawa Ryan.
I could settle with that.
Yeah, it's a good settlement. Yeah.
Speaking of Penn State, over under 9.5. I think with that conversation, we are unanimously over.
Over.
Love it.
I don't know why Vegas hasn't even moved that at all. That's an easy over.
Yeah. Let's see. On to Purdue at 5.5.
Purdue at 5.5. They gave him 5. Wow.
Giving him 5.5.
Let me see why. They better be playing like 5 Howards.
Apparently, their out of conference schedule is just like the hardest on the planet.
They play Fresno State, which is not easy.
Is Derek Carr playing quarterback?
No, but they were really good last year, and they're returning. They're supposed to be pretty good this year too. I'll give them the Fresno State win. That's a win. They play at Virginia Tech. I don't see them beating Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech this year. They play home against Syracuse. That's a loss. Y'all remember that Purdue Syracuse game last year? That was so good.
Yeah, it was electric.
That was an electric game last year. Fresno State, they win. They lose to Virginia Tech. They beat Syracuse at home. They lose to Iowa. They lose to Illinois. They lose to Wisconsin. They lose to Nebraska. They lose to Michigan.
Yeah, I'm going under for Purdue.
They beat Northwestern. That's 4. And they beat Indiana. Maybe 5. It's still under, right?
Yep.
Under. They're replacing a head coach. They're replacing a quarterback who was there for 15 years. They're replacing a ton of stuff, dude. So under for them, unfortunately. Comedy was good though.
On to another sad team.
Was that unanimous?
It was.
All right, next.
Rutgers is at 3.5 for their win total. They
Under.
suck.
They're not winning a 10 games, so they can't break that.
I'm 0 under. They might go winless.
They play Northwestern at home. They're going to beat Northwestern.
Nope.
Okay, well then they'll go 1 win.
Northwestern. They play Temple at home. Temple's not very good.
They'll lose.
Yeah, they'll
You
find
think
a
so?
way. They'll find a way.
They'll find a
They're
way. They
so
play
bad.
Wagner. Wagner, no.
Yeah, well, those kids have good hearts, so it doesn't count.
They will beat Northwestern. They'll beat Temple, and they'll beat Wagner. That's 3, and they'll set at 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, no. Under.
After all that contemplating, you just could have.
Well, because then I look at the rest of their schedule, and I'm like, they're not beating.
Actually, you know what? I said Northwestern would lose to them, and I said Indiana would lose to them, so I have to take the over because that's 4.
Yeah, that's 4. Yeah. So we have it's not unanimous, unfortunately.
Ryan using logic here.
Ryan, you're gonna be sweating some Rutgers games this year, buddy.
Absolutely
Have
not.
fun.
If he ever
All
turns
those noon Rutgers games.
bleeding.
Huh?
I said if he turns one on, his eyes might start bleeding.
Fun fact: I almost went to Rutgers. Why would that have been a mistake?
That's right. You are. That is the University of New Jersey. I forgot.
Wow.
That's right. You're a Rutgers. You're like Rutgers stan right now.
I almost went to Rutgers and Maryland. Dodged some
And
bullets there.
Maryland. Oh my God, what's wrong with you?
Instead, you went and watched Trace McSorley play.
Is it because you love Wawa so much you went back to where it started, Pennsylvania?
They're getting a Wawa at Penn State now. Might as well have to make a trip up there.
It's worth the trip. Worth the trip.
For a whiteout.
There we go.
Is our over and under? Is it we done or
No, we have one more team left. It is 8.5 for Wisconsin and Luke Fickile.
huge over? Huge over.
Huge.
Yeah, I'm in on Fickle.
I'm in on Fickles.
Him to coach well, so when Ryan Day gets fired, he comes to Ohio State.
Because
Yeah, I guess I'm taking the over as well.
It's you, right?
It is unanimous.
So we have a unanimous Wisconsin Badgers year. God, they're going to destroy everybody after they. Oh my God! Let's just put that
We need
applause.
USC and UCLA in this conference put someone in that western side.
Like they play Washington State at Washington State. That's actually a really tough game, sneaky tough. Because Washington State's no joke when it comes to being a really good team, and it's a night game, 7:30 on ABC. That's a sneaky good week 2 game. Wisconsin, Washington State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Wazoo.
Yeah, that's because Wazoo had a really decent year last year, and they're returning pretty much their entire team. Play Georgia Southern. Watch out now. Yeah. I would say, let's say they go undefeated. They'll beat Washington State. They beat Purdue. It's undefeated. They'll beat Rutgers. The Iowa game is at home, so I have them beating Iowa. Then they play Illinois at Illinois. Then they play Ohio State at home. And then the rest of it's just a joke. So, yeah. My biggest thing about Wisconsin is they play the most home games I've ever seen ever. Every time I watch them play, it's a home game.
That electric. I would let them play.
I've never seen them play away.
Camp
ever.
Randall, baby.
Like is it just me or I thought I was the only person that thought this, but every time they play a big game, it's at home. So
yeah, I mean the stadium end of the third quarter is just awesome.
Yeah,
why not let them?
The beginning of you can't mess with jump around. It's awesome. Great tradition. I'm gonna be eating a ton of cheese this year. Huge Fickle fan. Huh?
Big cheese guys on this podcast.
Big cheese guy. I love Wisconsin. I love Luke Fickle. I love what he did in the bowl game with players that he just found on the bench. He said, "Hey, you want to play some football?" And they're like, "Sure, we'll play." They destroyed whoever they played in the bowl game. I was like, if that's what he just did with a bunch of scraps, what's he gonna do when he got his quarterback, which he has
Mordecai.
Mordecai, and then by the way, this is our transition into our preview. I'll just begin with
There you go.
Wisconsin. Um, get Tanner Mordecai, bring him in to run his offense. They fired their former coach because they weren't good enough, and he inherited. It's like he didn't inherit it; he inherited the keys to the kingdom. He's got a great offensive line, rushing attack like crazy. The Braylon Allen kid he's going to have like 1,200 yards easily this year. He had 1,200 last year. The offensive line, they're going to have some tight end, some stud. Defense, they're going to have some J.J. Watt looking dude or some Joey Bosa looking white guy just come out of nowhere and be like a first round draft pick. So defense is solid. Wisconsin's solid. Huge Badger guy this year. I can't wait to see him on Prime. That Ohio State Wisconsin game is going to be fun. I can't wait for that one. And it's later in the season too, not in the beginning. So you're looking at a night cold game in Wisconsin. And normally when they play those games, they do win them. And I'm looking at them probably being undefeated going into that game, which they're going to be a top 10 team if the way their schedule lines up, either top 10 or at least right outside the top 10. Mm-hmm. So huge guy. They got a lot of Fickle got guys he needed. He brought his coaching staff with him. They're recruiting like they normally do. They really didn't skip a beat. They just brought a better coach in. And like Scott said earlier, if Fickle does what he's supposed to do at Wisconsin, he would be a shoo-in for the next Ohio State head coaching job. So he likes him being there. So very favorable schedule. I think Tanner Mordecai, it's just one of those things where it's like the portal elevates him so he gets to show what he can do for the draft. Mm-hmm. He did really good at SMU. He's going to be a standout this year at Wisconsin. He fits right in to what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball. They're going to have a very balanced attack, but they're going to score a lot, which is going to be weird seeing Michigan, Ohio, or Wisconsin score over 30 points in games. They're going to score a lot, and they're going to just play that bruising defense that they normally do. So Camp Randall's going to be really rocking this year, and I can't wait to see it, especially when Gus Johnson announces his first Wisconsin game this year. It's going to be fun. So huge Badger guy. So that is Nate's preview. I could go in depth more about their offensive line, but their D line, their offensive line, both ranked coming into this year top 20. Bet one of the best running backs in the league. They're going to have phenomenal wide receivers running crisp routes like they normally do. But everything's predicated off the offensive line, and their offensive line is tops in the nation. So
that is great, and Wisconsin having a great year would just set up perfectly for if the end all be all is bad for Ohio State this year, which right now there was a poll taken on The Athletic yesterday about how confident Buckeye fans are in Ryan Day, and like 75% of people are like content with Ryan Day right now. It's like there is like 2% of people were like concerned. And I'm like, yo, what are we doing here? Like the standard, is our standard lowering as Ohio State fans? Like it's not acceptable to like play Michigan the way that they've played them the last 2 years. That's unacceptable tradition. It's not hazing. It's unacceptable tradition as we've established here. So there's only been one coach in Ohio State history that has lost 3 years in a row to Michigan. Ryan, can you just take a wild guess what happened after the third loss to Michigan?
He got extended.
Did the exact opposite. He got fired the next day. So, That's a problem. It's a legitimate concern, and more than 2% of Buckeye fans should be concerned this year. Another concern is that we don't know who is playing quarterback yet. And I understand the first couple weeks, I think it's the first 3 or 4 weeks are pretty easy. It's the first 3 weeks and then going to Notre Dame. You need to know who your quarterback is after those 3 weeks. So I think McCord's going to get a start. I think Brown's going to get a start. And one of them is going to have to figure out like the offense and prove to us that they can step in and be what Fields and Stroud has been. Another thing is Jim Knowles needs to figure it out on defense. I understand that last year was his first year, but he's making it look like Oklahoma State defense and giving up 75-yard touchdown passes, and that's unacceptable. And this team's kind of got to prove it to me. Like I've had like in the past, I've had good feelings about teams and expectations, but this team is the most disappointing, like coming into a Buckeye season that I've been since the tattoo scandal. Every other year I've had great expectations and have been looking forward to the season, but this team, this might be pathetic. And I don't care that we have 2 wide receivers that are going to go in the top 10 next year. That's why I picked them to go under 10.5. I don't know what's going to happen against Michigan. I think Penn State's going to get us this year. Wisconsin might get us this year. Like,
yeah, they could.
There's a lot of good teams, and they got to prove it to me. That's the Buckeye preview. Also, one last thing, Ryan. I don't think that you realized it either, but we will be cruising together for Penn State, Ohio State in the middle of for that game.
Awesome.
So that's gonna be electric.
That's freaking great.
Like wing two too. That's gonna make or break the rest of the trip.
For one of us. Hold on. What do we got? It is on.
One of us is going to be
night, and one of us. Yeah, that's our day at sea. So we'll be watching some ball and throwing back some margs at the sports bar on deck 5.
I'd love to be there with y'all on that one. That'd be just to watch the day just unfold.
I'm hopefully optimistic, but this could ruin cruising for me if it goes south.
Don't say that. You'll be fine. Don't say that. I will say this. My question for Scott, you didn't mention the defense at all because everyone obviously doesn't know about the quarterback stuff. But y'all play Western Kentucky week 3. Y'all better have your quarterback by then because Austin Reed and Western Kentucky are going to be coming in slinging.
Yeah, and that's
He threw almost 5,000 yards last year.
Yeah, and the last time that Ohio State stepped on the field defensively, I mean, they did play Georgia well, but they still gave up 42 points.
42 points, exactly.
They also gave up like 3 75-yard touchdowns to Michigan when they played in Columbus last year. So
my thing is, are the DBs ready? Because that game, they're going to be exhausted. Western Kentucky runs that flag football offense I ran at the boys' trip. I mean, they'd be slinging it. They'd be 5 wide, making it up as they go. The kid Austin Reed he had 40 touchdowns and like 3 picks last year. His QBR is ridiculous. He had like 4,500 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kid's electric. I wish he was on a different team. Because he's at Western Kentucky. But no, week 3, y'all need to have that locked down on who your quarterback is because you're going to be in a shootout.
Yep.
So that's sneaky. A lot of people are going to talk about that one. The FBI probably has y'all as 99% favorite, but that's going to be scary because they can score. And don't give them momentum because they'll just continue taking it. So,
yep.
Yeah. But I have faith in them. I know you don't. But I have faith in Ryan Day. The way they played Georgia, because they still put points up against Georgia's defense.
Yeah.
And they had a chance to win the game.
Yep.
They if they could play that way, and if Ryan Day, because I remember we had a pod before that, I said Ryan Day needs to go to like boot camp and get some balls and like find some toughness in these boys. If they find some toughness, I feel like they can carry that momentum and bully some people.
Just show me. That's all I
This
care.
just showed exactly. So that's why I took them over. It's the confidence in Ryan Day, the confidence. It's Ohio State. It's the Ohio State. Like you gotta you bully people. You don't take it. You bully them. Like they've been playing clean prissy boy football for like 10 years. They need to start freaking run the rock, get your nose bloody, get some mud on you, and like let's go. Like knock some chocolate out of people.
Yeah.
And then you'll have no issues with the quarterback because everyone's afraid that of the running game. So like we'll see, but that's why I have them where they're at. In defense, I feel like they're gonna have a better defensive year. So let's move on.
Let's go on to Penn State.
To Penn State,
the team that's gonna give them their second loss this year. I'm gonna make my bold claim that Marvin Harrison Jr. wins Heisman.
That is a good claim.
That would be awesome. That would mean that his quarterback.
His quarterback is good.
I hate everything about that statement, but I think my man's going to have like 5,000 targets this year, 2,700 yards.
Marv Harrison.
He's so good. I can't wait to
watch him overall next year. Like if Caleb wasn't the quarterback coming out, he might go number one.
Yeah,
I agree.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he honestly 2 unanimous ones with them too. It's just generational talents.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out or Jamar Chase when he came
out? Some scouts are saying that Harrison is the better prospect, but the comp is Jamar Chase.
Yeah, obviously.
The comp is Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson.
I go back to Harrison's play when he caught that ball and then like his body was pretzeled and he still had his foot in bounds.
Yeah, he's so insane.
Like, that's in like body control, like crazy. I love that. Like
and just growing up knowing the game as like his dad.
Oh yeah, as his dad. Yeah,
just puts him over the top as a prospect for me.
Yeah, and he's probably just a professional, like through and like inside and out.
Yeah.
So cool.
All right, let's get
let's go.
Allen talk. Medina, alone.
Yeah,
but unfortunately for Harrison, he's going to have a crap game against the team I have to win the Big Ten East this year.
Oh,
I'm way too optimistic on this team, but I'm staking my claim now, and we're going somewhere with it, and that's my Penn State Nittany Lions.
And you can say my because you actually went there.
That's my team. That's my alma mater. I bleed blue and white, but
you can say we. It actually makes sense.
A lot of optimism around this team this year. A lot of returning pieces, especially quite a few guys who are getting mocked already to be high first round talent level players. Big, strong left tackle who is right up there with Harrison and the quarterbacks as a guy who's projected to go top 5. So that's a nice anchor to cover the blind side for our new 5-star redshirt freshman QB Drew Allar from is it Medina, Scott?
Medina.
So from Medina, Ohio, Drew Allar, 5-star quarterback. Really, really excited for the kid. 6'6", 240. Kind of a frame we really haven't seen since Hackenberg. And fortunately for this kid, I love Franklin, but he's not calling the plays like he was for Hackenberg. So there's a little bit of a optimism, and I'm excited to see him go, especially with he's got a Thunder and Lightning back there at running back with Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. A lot of promise on the offensive side of the ball, especially with the way they ran it last year to set up the passing game.
The way they looked in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, they looked strong.
They looked so strong in that game. And that's a sneak peek of what you get to see this year. So, and that they even use Aller. They used the Clifford, yeah. And he looked phenomenal.
Yeah, he did.
That was his swan song for y'all. He said, "Kisses, thank you, Rose Bowl." He did a great. How are they going to be on defense this year?
So defensively, I think they're probably even going to be better than last year, I would say. They lose Joey Porter, but they have another corner who little on the smaller side, but he's much better in the air and coverage, and that's going to be Kalen King. He'll probably be anchoring one side of the field. They have a sophomore linebacker who was kind of up there with the kid from LSU last year in terms of kind of impact freshman on the defensive side of the ball with Abdul Carter. And then we got the Maryland transfer Chop Robinson coming off the edge. So this is first time in a while, I would say, this Penn State team has big impact players at all key positions. You got a quarterback, you got a left tackle, you got a running back, a defensive end, and you got a shutdown corner. So if this was the year they were going to make some noise, this would be the time.
The schedule's favorable, absolutely favorable. You go to Ohio State, but you get Michigan at home.
Yep, exactly. It's going to come down.
Iowa. You get Iowa at home. Like, you're not going to Iowa. Your hardest road game is Ohio State.
Exactly.
So
this is the year they gotta beat one of them. I think, fortunately for Scott, it's going to be Ohio State because of the way that defense has trended over the last couple of years and uncertainty at quarterback. But I think this is the year we get at least. I think 11-1 sounds where I would put them at. I don't know if they quite win the Big Ten, but beating one of them would be a lot to stamp Franklin's resume and kind of build it off of this team for a contender.
Would an 11-1 Penn State still make the playoffs? That's the question.
I think it depends on how badly the SEC beats themselves up, but I would say it's potentially in the cards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You also have the Pac-12.
Yeah.
With their 5 teams that could go, you don't know. They could either beat each other up or Washington or could be. It's going to be crazy. So, obviously USC is the contender now. And I don't think it's still USC's defense and they still suck.
Yep. Yeah. Keep your eye out. Potential national championship dark horse if things start falling their way.
I mean, the way they played against Utah and against Utah is like everyone knows Utah. You're gonna play Utah. You got to put your hard hat on and play.
Mm-hmm.
And they beat Utah in the Rose Bowl, and they didn't just beat them by 4. They beat them pretty bad.
If I was a smart gambler, I would be watching Penn State, and if they rip off a good stretch to start the season and they go into that Ohio State game undefeated, I would put a future on them to win if I didn't put a preseason future on them. But I would put a future on them before the Buckeye game because no matter what, that your odds are going to just plummet to probably around plus 350, plus 400 to win the Natty if they beat Ohio State. So you need to get it when it's still plus 1,600, 1,800.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't see how Vegas is seeing this roster and seeing this. Well, first of all, the coaching staff is great. I mean, it's still Coach Franklin, but the schedule is so favorable for them. I just don't see how they put them at 9.5. It's just way too easy. It's the easiest 9.5 I've ever seen.
Penn State right now is plus 2,000, plus 2,200, and plus 2,500. Those are on
the odds on the national championship.
Yeah. So if they start off hot, you can probably get them at plus 1,600 going into the Buckeye game. And that's incredible to get that during the middle of a season with that big of a game. Because if Penn State gets that one, they pretty much can walk to, obviously the title.
If they get Ohio State, they will beat Michigan at home. Mm-hmm. And that's a 12 o'clock noon game. That's a Gus Johnson game. Big noon.
Is the Michigan one you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Penn State Ohio State game should be a night game. Mark that down, Brian. We're going to dinner early that night.
All right.
Oh man, God! Just the bar itself that night. like the sports bar on the cruise ship. It's
Dude,
gonna be just that.
that's the funniest thing. Like
I
the
love
sports
it.
bar on the cruise, like just around TVs in general when the events were on. Like I was on for NBA playoffs, and it was like Celtics Heat. This is the year that the Heat went to the finals. They were in like game 6, and dude, it was just electric. Like it's just awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well that
All right.
concludes
That
our
concludes our breakdown
right.
of our Big Ten breakdown. We're gonna same rotation. We're gonna just rapid fire our surprise teams. So my surprise team, I think I took Maryland. Yes, my surprise team was Maryland, even though I took them with the under. Realistically, they can surprise you. This is year 1900 for Tua, baby Tua. They have a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball. If they can find some way to stop people defensively, they are an 8-win team. The offense is going to be good. They score at will. Um, they play good on the road. They've proven that already in the Big Ten. Um, when they do go to like a Purdue or they go to like Indiana, they don't just like where the heck am I, like in the middle of a cornfield. Like they're pretty seasoned now in the Big Ten, Maryland, and I think Coach Lockley, um, coming from Alabama, he's got a lot to prove as a head coach. He's recruited well. He just needs to win.
Mhm.
I think this will be the year for him. Even though I took the under, they do have the ceiling of an 8-win team, and that'll be a surprise. An 8-win team for Maryland. That's a pretty good. That's
That's
a
a
pretty
good
good
year.
surprise. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a good year. He would probably get a job because someone's going to get fired for that. He might get a job or he could get extended, um, but he is recruiting still pretty well.
Mhm.
So um, and also I just think their uniforms are cool. I think they were the original Under Armour school.
Yeah.
Their their fans are mean. I remember Tennessee played them when I was like 8, and they just said mean things to me. But I do think they will be a surprise. Offensively, we already know they're going to score. It's just if they can find some guys defensively. I'm pretty sure they brought in some portal guys. I didn't do a lot of my research on this one a lot, but they are my surprise pick for sure. All right, next.
Yeah, my surprise team is Nebraska. We have them on the over. We are on the Matt Rule train. This is a Matt Rule podcast. Yeah, sound the train. I'm pulling the engine. I'm pulling the whistle. Let's no, Nebraska has been obviously disappointed over the last couple years, especially being so hyped getting Scott Frost to come home and what he did at UCF and how disappointing it's been. So now it's time for Matt Rule to turn that around. He did very well in the portal. They got some good young pass rushers. They do have a running back room that is proven with some guys. They got a transfer wide receiver who's like a slot guy from Virginia. It's pretty shifty. It's what the streets are telling me. And then they have a quarterback, Jeff Sims, transferred in and should be the starter.
Dude
So
is good.
yeah,
He was so good at Georgia Tech last year.
Good
yeah.
He
player.
got hurt.
So
Yes, he's good. He's very good.
so Rule year one, I think he's going to do really well, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people, especially because Nebraska's kind of been a joke. So, looking forward to being an honorary Nebraska Cornhuskers fan this season. Shout out Connor.
I'm As a Tennessee fan, I understand them because they're like us. They're just
Mhm.
chasing clout. They're chasing the 90s, the early 2000s.
Mhm.
Um, I want to see them. I want to see them get back to that tradition of just being competitive and winning. Because you think of Nebraska, you think of the the black shirt defense, the hard nosed defense that they play. I think of them as the team of the 90s where you didn't want to play them because you were going to be hurting. Like they're gonna run the triple option when they did with Tim Couch or Couch or whatever his name was, won the Heisman as a triple option quarterback. Like they need to get back to those roots, and they need to do it fast. And because there's more teams coming to the Big Ten,
Yep.
and they can either get left in the dust because the teams that are coming to the Big Ten potentially are rostered way better than them and ahead of them. So
Yep.
they need to do it fast. They need to do it quickly, and I think Matt Rule's the guy for that. And Jeff Sims is gonna. I think he's gonna have a hell of a year. They haven't had a quarterback. They had that Martinez kid for so long, but he was a running back. Really
Miller
good
had Adrian, so
yeah.
they had like 8
So,
years. I think they had like
year,
8 or 9 years if you include like the 2020 like COVID like red shirt and BS that they had. Yeah, they had like 9 years of Martinez's in a row. Like
yeah,
Nebraska fans, they're going through.
You're going through it. I think it'll be a fresh breath of like it'll be a very like a breath of fresh air when they have Sims playing quarterback for them.
Looking forward.
Looking forward to it. I'm gonna watch every Nebraska game this year because they're gonna be on CBS. CBS loves them. I bet you they're because they love that nostalgia, that tradition. So CBS is gonna be awesome to watch them on CBS this year. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Perfect. And then
Ryan,
to wrap up,
bring us home, Ryan.
My surprise team is going to be the Fighting Illini from Illinois. And really, way this team comes down to is they got 2 key guys, one on each side of the ball this year, who kind of have to continue to step up and show that they're pushing this team in the right direction. The first one's going to be defensive lineman Keith Randolph, probably a top 15 guy in the Big Ten, which is saying a lot for an Illinois team, especially when you have the Michigans, Penn States, and Ohio States with how loaded those rosters are. 300-pound moves like a defensive end, had over 20 pressures last year off the edge for them. So he's going to come in. He's going to help secure that defensive line for them and help lead that Brett Bielema defense that has always kind of stood out. And then new transfer quarterback from Ole Miss, Luke Altmaier. Big addition for them. Doesn't really have a lot of career starts, but the time he got in for Ole Miss, he was very promising, and he showed a lot of good stuff. And I think he kind of has the chance to slot right in there and kind of steady the ship for Illinois that really haven't had a QB kind of take over and put a mark on that team under Bielema yet.
No.
But I have them at seven wins, just on the over. They got some work to do replacing the secondary. They had 3 guys go in the first 2 days of the draft. So definitely lost some talent there. But at this time last year, no one had any idea who those 3 guys were, and they ended up being studs, including one of them being a top 10 pick. So Bielema is going to have that team set up, ready to hum like a train. So even though
Bielema is Big Ten.
Yeah, he is.
He looks like the Big Ten.
Attainable for this team.
Yeah, and his wife's hot.
But that's what this team's going to come down to. They got Altmaier's got to lead that new offense, and Randolph's got to anchor that defense for them, and that's going to what make or breaks this team.
I can see, like last year, they were surprised. They were a huge surprise. I think they were just ahead of schedule, in my opinion. A lot had to do with just Chase Brown and the Witherspoon being so good.
He was so small.
Yeah,
he was so good.
So good.
I don't know how it's going to work in the NFL, but
he'll figure it out.
He got paid.
He got paid, yeah. So, So I could see he did decent at Arkansas when he was there, and he did good at Wisconsin too. So, I feel like Illinois, when they're good, it makes that west side or the other division better. Obviously, it makes sense. But it's not hard to recruit Champaign. It's a pretty town. It's away from Chicago, but you can get those kids out of Chicago. You can get any Midwestern big kid to come there.
A lot of Midwest talent.
It's a typical Midwest town. It's a great college town. And it's just cool. It's cool to see them good. So I'm expecting a good year, competitive year, but replacing a lot of guys is going to be tough for them. So, but it's gonna. I feel like the Big Ten this year, they're with our surprises. If they do come to fruition, it will be a great Big Ten year
Yeah, it's gonna be a
because
dark.
everyone's focused on the big three. But what about the rest? You know what I mean? So if the rest can, if you have some surprises with the rest, it's gonna make for a great conference play for sure. I love it. So I'm excited for the Big Ten this year. You got the NBC deal, the CBS deal, the Fox thing. So we're gonna see a lot of Big Ten football on the national television this year. So
Make sure you tune in.
yeah, tune in. Yeah, man. Um, we're over at an hour and 15 with this year. So Ryan had a start bench cut for us. We can do one and we'll close it out for
Yeah.
our we can finish this one or would you rather? So Ryan had
Let's do a
something.
would you rather. I want a would you
Let's
rather.
go to would you rather to
Let's
close
do a
out
would you
today's
rather.
pod.
And all right, so most people are asking. I don't know who these people are, but some are asking. Would you rather have Michigan's rushing attack currently, that two-headed monster with J.J. McCarthy kind of handling it, or would you rather have Ohio State's passing attack with the arguably 17 million first-round pick wide receivers they have on that roster?
Oh, it's a passing
Scott,
league.
go first.
So
Yeah,
it's
go
a
first,
passing
Scott.
league. So, Big Ten football is all about smash mouth football down into the trenches. But I mean, look at the last two college football playoffs. Michigan got absolutely murdered when they played Georgia, and then Ohio State went out and played a lot of the same of that Georgia team with their passing attack. And like Kirby Smart said himself that Georgia got lucky that they missed the field goal to, give them the game and actually take the national championship, which is still sickening. Don't want to talk about it, but anyways, it's a passing league. I would take the passing attack just because of what we've seen in the playoffs.
It's a good take. I'm going with the Michigan rushing attack. When you can control the ground as easy as they're going to control the ground, everything else just comes easily. It makes those 10-yard throws for JJ McCarthy wide open. So I'm going with them with their two-headed studs that they have at running back and their just offensive line that's going to just plow over people this year without having their coach for the first 4 games. I think it sets up everything. The running game, I don't care who you are, old school, new school, doesn't matter. If you have a running game, you can get 3 yards on average per carry, you will win as many games as your offensive line will take you. So, and then on top of that, add the freaking talent that they have around them as weapons. I'm going with that. I feel like if you can control the line of scrimmage and control the clock and can do what you need to do, you're going to be just fine. So I'm going to take the running game over the passing game. Passing game can only take you so far because your quarterback could have a hangnail and he might hurt his little pinky.
Or he might tear his ACL like Brock Purdy.
He might tear his ACL, but quarterback going to hurt himself handing that ball off to them studs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yep. I'm going with that one as the would you rather for today's pod. Ryan, since you're the judge, since you asked, who's the winner of the would you rather of this one?
Just because I want to see Scott squirm. No, but I'm going to lean with Nate because I think I would pick Michigan too, just because the Ohio State's flashy. I love watching it, but at the end of the day, I think it's not pretty. Michigan controls the game that way, and they haven't been able to do it on the biggest stage yet, but they've been able to kind of take control of the Big Ten because of it over the last 2 years.
We had Trayon Henderson. We could do it too if we wanted to, but they just don't.
Oh man, this is
it's so funny because Browns fans just like yell to give Nick Chubb the ball. Like Ohio State fans like do the same thing, I think, with Travion. I was like, give Travion the ball. Like he's got 3 rushes for like 47 yards and a touchdown.
And if you give him an edge, he's outrunning everyone on the field and then some.
11 for 12 for 200 yards.
I love it. Oh man, what's to come, guys? What are we expecting as we close out our pod today? What's coming up, Scott? And when it comes to future pods, future content, as we continue to get towards week 1 of college football and NFL football.
I believe upcoming we will attack the Pac-12 and the Big 12 next.
Yes. Yep. Big 12, Pac-12.
Big 12,
then,
Pac-12.
Any other sports going on that we're going to be talking about, like baseball?
Yeah, we're going to do after. I think actually the next one that'll come out will actually be trade deadline special. I think we might go live coverage on that for the deadline on Tuesday.
Tuesday, we can do that one.
We can do it. I know I might be available to do it. If anyone else is available to go live on here, which links to Facebook and YouTube. So look out for that on Tuesday for MLB trade deadline. There's been a couple trades already, but deadline day is electric, especially that last hour.
Yeah,
I'd like to be like that. And we got some more conference previews coming out for NFL. Look this weekend for the start of the NFC previews. Got those in the works, ready to go. And we're less than 7 days away, if you're listening right now.
Football, guys. It's here.
Joe Thomas going to the Hall. Darrelle Revis as well.
I love that. He deserves it. Both of them, man. Both of them. They both had great careers. So, guys, Ryan, great to have you, buddy. We're going to continue to Ryan. We're great insight, guys. It was a phenomenal show. Continue to listen, guys. Follow and share the pod. We can't do this without you. So we ask you to subscribe. Tell your friends about us. You know, we might seem like we know what we're doing, but come football time, we're going to be on it. I'm telling you.
Look out for us on TikTok as well.
TikTok and Threads now.
Threads, if
we're just trendy. We're just here.
Happening.
We're hip. Yeah, you keep it. We're gonna keep fresh content daily. News when it breaks. Our pick'ems are coming. Our plays are coming. So stay with us, guys, as we grow this thing out and continue to share and like and follow. And we love you guys. We're gonna have more consistent pods as well when the season begins. We're looking at a schedule of at least 2 shows a week, which is great. So more of us means more entertainment for y'all. So we're here for you. This is Nate, Back Porch Nate, Scotty D, aka Scotty Wins, and Wawa Ryan. We out, boys. Peace.